For the first time, the Simulation Football League makes its way to Maryland. It's a battle between one of the best offenses in the minor league and one of the best defenses in the minor league as the Annapolis Navigators host the Lincoln Rattlesnakes. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Annapolis for Game 2 of Week 3, Simulation Football Minor League. Alongside producer extraordinaire Cameron Irvine, our statisticians David Horrell and Rosca Santagria, and my partner Mike Improda. My name's Tim Hackett. Thanks for joining us wherever you're joining us from. Two pretty different teams on display here, Mike, but I think we're in for a good one this afternoon.
Yeah, buddy. These two teams match up with identical records of 1 win and 1 loss. The Rattlesnakes look to make it 2 in a row, while the Navigators need to get back on track and into the win column after losing a tough one in Albuquerque. For the Lincoln Rattlesnakes, only a total of 1 touchdown on the season for their offense. Their running game hasn't been able to get anything going either. Luther Gahn needs to step it up. Defensively, they've been excellent. Igor Barbatov is a big reason why. Keep your eye on him. And for Annapolis, the Cameron Curtis to CJ Arthur connection has been explosive. I think they keep airing it out. However, their defense, not so exciting. Only 1 sack and no interceptions. They need to get turnovers. The psychological factor is at stake today. The loss drops you to 1 and 2, searching for answers, but a win brings you to 2 and 1, and the upper hand in the standings. I'm ready to go. Let the show begin.
Time to raise the curtain. We are underway from Annapolis. 1 and 1 Lincoln against 1 and 1 Annapolis. Rattlesnakes will get the ball first. They're the road team wearing the dark, and I beg your pardon. Got it used to the color scheme here. Annapolis is going to get the ball first. That's Jared Crow on the return, and the Navigators will set up shop 1st and 10 from their 28.
Don't go colorblind on me this soon, Tim.
Oh, hey.
The Navigators come out 2nd and 10, incomplete pass on 1st down. They'll look to make something happen here. Cam Curtis under center, 3 to the bottom, 2 to the top. Empty backfield. Pass over the middle and it's complete. Number 82, that's the backup wide receiver, Chris Armstrong, and the Navigators will move it out to the Annapolis 43. Nice play, but to get it over the middle by Curtis, found the wide open receiver. They're on the move. Split set back. Curtis stands in the pocket. He throws it out wide, and not much of a gain there. Not really sure what Curtis was looking at there, but certainly tried to get it out to Scott Johnson, and his momentum took him out of bounds. 2nd and 11 from the Annapolis 42. Twin set in the backfield, 3 wide receivers, 2 to the top of your screen. 3-step drop. Curtis tried to find the receiver, but nice play right there. Number 93, the defensive end, got his hands up and knocked that away. 3rd and 11, another passing down for Annapolis. Look out for CJ Arthur. Curtis hasn't looked his way yet, but they're not shy, and they'll be looking to hook up early and often. 5 wide receivers. Curtis drops back, looks left. He's got a man wide open. Number 16, Jared Crow out of Nashville, Tennessee. And they're in Lincoln Rattlesnake territory, down to the 36. Great play by Curtis. Great catch by the Crow. Pass over the middle, and it's another 1st down. Great job by Curtis. Great job by the Navigators just picking apart this defense. And that's the tight end, Alex Daniel. They're down to the Rattlesnake 26. And this is really surprising right now because the Rattlesnake defense has really been solid all year long. And Curtis finding holes to move the ball. Handoff Johnson for a gain of 3. And a nice tackle by the linebacker, number 56, Tommy the Tasman Zanardi. He came up and made a big hit on Johnson. 2nd and 7. Greg Soto, Scott Johnson in the backfield. C.J. Arthur on the bottom of your screen. Jerry Crow at the top. 3-step drop. Curtis looks outside and it's caught. So there he is, C.J. Arthur. There's the connection, Curtis to Arthur. And they're inside the 9. It's 1st and goal, Annapolis. Great job on the quick release from Curtis. Found Arthur. He's been trying to look his way all game, and they finally hooked up. The Navigators are in business.
Mike Improter, you're under the murder investigation of Tim Hackett. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do will be... I'm just kidding. Keep it up, buddy. You're doing great.
We're doing our best here, and so aren't these two teams. Curtis back on the center. Looking, throws over the middle, and he can't find Arthur. But there's a flag on the play. Good old R62 makes his debut in this game, and it looks like there's a pass interference call on the play. Number 57, Katie Horrell, got there a little too soon, bumped the receiver, and that should move the ball all the way up to the goal line and give the Navigators 1st and goal right from the 1.
Big spot here for the Navigators. Mike, can you hear me?
There you go. Take it away.
Fantastic. Mike, thank you so much for filling in for me. Still working on technical filling in. Forget that. You did a fantastic job. I should let you punch it in. Go for it. I'll color for you.
We work as a team. Let's get it going. They're on the 1.
Cameron Curtis directly under center. Scott Johnson is the tailback with 3 receivers to the right. Annapolis 1st and goal from the 1. Curtis back to pass. Flings it over the middle. It's tipped and incomplete. Had a man crossing over the center of the end zone, and it's knocked away by Tommy Zanardi, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, great play by Zanardi. They were playing zone defense on the goal line, and Zanardi just sat right in the middle. He saw the pass get let go by Curtis, stuck his big paw out there, and knocked it away.
We're having fun so far, and it looks like the Annapolis offense is as well. They've moved down the field very efficiently. 2nd down and goal from the 1 with Johnson in the backfield. Handoff to Scott Johnson. He cuts back to the outside and crosses the goal line for a touchdown. Curtis leads him down there. Scott Johnson punches it in, his 1st touchdown of the season.
Yeah, what a great drive by the Annapolis Navigators. They came down the field at will. I think there was only 2 incomplete passes, but they got it down quickly, and they took advantage. They're out of the gates early, 6-0, 7 with the point pending, and right now they're setting the pace.
One of our questions for this game, Mike, is which of these positional battles will win out? Annapolis' passing offense versus the pass defense of Lincoln. They lead the league in takeaways, like you said. Annapolis, one of the best passing teams in the league. Extra point coming here from William Richardson. He knocks it through. And Annapolis, at least for now, they're winning that positional battle. And this defensive front for Lincoln was not able to do anything against this Annapolis offensive line.
Yeah, really surprising to see how easy it was for Annapolis to come down the field and score. This week, JQ is going to line up at quarterback for the Rattlesnakes, and they'll certainly want to answer this right away.
Due to the league, as Mike said, both teams that have multiple running backs or multiple quarterbacks switch those players every week. Lincoln has 2 star quarterbacks on his roster, so we will see their number 1 quarterback, JQ, come out under center. Solid return for Tony Hall. And Lincoln will start off 1st and 10 from its own 28.
Be interesting to see how the Rattlesnakes line up. I know they want to get Luther Gahn going. Last week, only 33 yards on 15 carries, so he'll want to improve today.
I transferred to a different booth. I'm sure it sounds like I did, and I'm sure we would rather just have Mike do play-by-play the rest of the way because of how good he sounded and how good he sounds presently. But we're back and we're going to battle through these technical difficulties. First offensive play for JQ. He'll loft it towards the far sideline, and the pass is hauled in. A gain of 12 on first down for Lincoln. That's Jay Moss, their number one wide receiver, getting involved early.
Great job by Moss on running his route out to the outside. And Q, floated it up there. And now Lincoln's up to the 40. Good job.
Really interesting first game for JQ now 2 weeks ago. He attempted 50 passes and completed exactly half of them. So we try to improve on that here. Other than that, was kind of unremarkable. Here's something that he does about as well as anybody in the league. He'll run it on second down and he picks up 5.
Nice job by Q. Element of surprise, picking up 5. I'll take that anytime.
Not too many quarterbacks in the minor leagues that will run it. JQ is one of them. So is his backup, Bryant Dynasty. So that's clearly part of the game plan this season for Lincoln and head coach Jose Fuentes. And JQ, with his longest run of the season, picks up 5. Here comes second down, straight drop back this time. He'll fling it out to the tailback, Luther Gahn. Pulls on the spin move and now crosses the first down line. A gain of 7 for Luther Gahn through the air.
There he is, Luther U.S. Savings Gone with the spin move. Move the chains, it's up to the 48.
And one of these two running games get going. We'll see. That's then the big question for me coming into this game, Mike. Obviously, this is a passing gain here for Luther Gahn. He's not been very effective through the air. 2 catches for -2 yards to this point of the season. And if that can be an outlet for JQ or Bryant Dynasty the rest of the way, maybe that'll help open up the Lincoln offense.
He's certainly the spark plug, and if they can get him going, this is the way they're going to get to victory.
From the I formation, fresh set of downs just across midfield. The handoff is to Gahn, and he will get a gain of 2 before he's stopped up by Michael Rochester, the newcomer to this Annapolis defense, joined before week 2, replacing Nelson Lozano.
Yeah, didn't take long for Michael Rochester to hear his name called. Nelson Lozano, who was a highly ranked linebacker, got hired in Portland as their new GM. They called up Rochester, and there he is with his first tackle. Congratulations, Mr. Rochester.
Couple tackles in his debut, and now he's back to work in place of Lozano, who, like you said, was one of the highest-rated linebackers in the class. Luther Gahn picks up a gain of 3 on second down.
Good job. They're moving the ball effectively, and when you run the ball, it's not pretty, but you control the ball, you control the clock, and right now the Rattlesnakes are trying to come back to control this game.
Lincoln will spread it out, 3 wides and a tight end. Gahn is the tailback to the right of the quarterback, JQ, on 3rd down and 5. Plenty of time for Q. He'll loft it towards the left sideline, and it's hauled in once again. First down and a lot more for Lincoln. They get all the way out to the 30-yard line.
Really nice play to find Moss. Moss out in the open. The offensive line did a heck of a job. Actually, check that, Tim. Number 88, Tony Hall out of Philadelphia made the catch. Sometimes you take a look at these players' numbers, 80 and 88, they get a little confusing, so I apologize, Mr. Hall, but that was a heck of a catch.
Well, that's what's fun about this Lincoln team is every single wide receiver wears a number in the 80s. There's not a single-digit jersey number on this entire roster. Now they'll give it to Luther Gahn. Tries to break out to the outside. Does so, but then he's stopped. Nice tackle from the backfield by Hayden Williams, the free safety for Annapolis. Limits Gahn to a gain of 3.
Wow, Luther Gahn kept his feet moving. At first, I thought it was going to be a loss of 3, but he ended up picking up 3. Good job.
Annapolis just outside the Lincoln just outside the Annapolis red zone. We'll tell you about the rest of the Rattlesnake offense after this play. We're a little bit off script because of all the fun and games on my end. Apologies for that, but thanks for sticking with us here on this afternoon. Give to Gahn on second down. He will pick up another gain of 4. Really nice opening drive here for Luther Gahn. Trent Scarney, the backup quarterback, brings him down. So the offense here for Lincoln, you've got a good look at JQ and their number 1 quarterback. Luther Gahn is the tailback. The wide receivers, Jay Moss, Nathan Barnett, and Tony Hall. The tight end is Connor Darien. The fullback is R.E. Mills. And the offensive line is spearheaded by star left guard, John Marshall. We're down in 3 from just outside the red zone. 3 wides from the I formation. Give to Gahn on the left side, and he's got nowhere to go. It's Scarney out of the defensive backfield once again. The dime back comes in and makes the play, along with Sean Crook, the defensive tackle.
Yeah, great job by the Navigators. I was going to say, I thought the Rattlesnakes right now have been putting together a nice drive, good mixture between pass and run, but the Navigators saw the ball handed off to Gahn to force the field goal.
Not been a great season so far for Luther Gahn, like we said, and the Annapolis defense was right up to the task. So here comes Cliff Allen, and it's not been a perfect season for the Lincoln kicker so far this season either, but Allen's first kick for today from 41 yards sails through, and a great start to the afternoon for Cliff Allen. Lincoln responds to the Annapolis touchdown with a field goal.
Yeah, I think the Rattlesnakes will be really happy with that drive. Certainly they would have liked to have scored a touchdown, but giving up the early touchdown to the Scott Johnson goal line touchdown, they'll take the 3. They put themselves on the board, and we got a ball game here to start off with, Tim.
Annapolis goes 11 plays, 62 yards for the touchdown run by Johnson, and then Lincoln answers with a 10-play, 48-yard drive for the Cliff Allen field goal. So here comes Jared Crow to try to bounce back for Annapolis, and he gets out to the 28. They'll give him forward progress to the 30, and Annapolis will start its second drive from there.
Let's see if Curtis and Arthur can get anything going on this drive.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much of them. At least I did, because I was looking down trying to fix all of my issues on the technical side. 1 catch for C.J. Arthur on their first drive. And how about Jared Crow breaking out a catch of 22? He only had 2 catches prior to that on this season. Christopher Ochoa is the big I've got the spotlight on him this week, Mark. First down for Cameron Curtis. He'll fling it over to Scott Johnson. Running room for Johnson down the right sideline, and he's hauled down after a gain of 7. Nice play there by the Lincoln defense, but a nice pickup on first down for Johnson.
Good job by Johnson to control his body from going out of bounds. A little pass into the flat. I thought his momentum might take him over the sideline, but he collected it beautifully and picked up 7.
Wade on the tackle there for Lincoln, the outside linebacker. He supposedly only had 1 tackle on the season coming into today. I find that hard to believe, but even if that's true, he's now doubled his total on 1 play alone, a gain of 7 for Johnson. Ochoa had a huge game last week in Annapolis' loss to Albuquerque. More on them as we go along, but he was silent in week 1 in Annapolis' week 1 win over Madison. The give is to Johnson on second down, and he gets a gain of maybe 2. Stopped at the line by Igor Barbatov, or check that, out of the backfield is Ben Stackenpaper, actually, the cornerback, stopping Johnson for a gain of 2.
Yeah, usually when you call Ben Stackenpaper's name, I'm expecting an interception, but he came up quick from his cornerback position, and it's 3rd and 1.
Apples will stack the box, bring out an extra tight end, 2 wides, and Johnson is the tailback. The give to Johnson, and he's blown up. A loss of 3 on 3rd down, and there is Igor Barbatov, the most successful defensive tackle in the league so far. Blows up Johnson for a loss of 3, and the Navigators will have to punt.
Yeah, sooner or later, Barbatov was going to get his name mentioned in the game, and he came up big there to force the punt.
The most dominant, the most dominant defensive lineman in the SFLm through 2+ weeks. Igor Barbatov with another tackle for loss. Give him 9 now this season. Far and away the most in the league. Punt here from Rand Fullman. Tony Hall fields at his own 27, and he's stopped immediately by Darren Underwood, the safety for Annapolis. Nice stop. And Lincoln will set up 1st and 10 from the 29.
Good job by the Rattlesnake defense. The offense is pumped up to get back out there. Let's see what JQ is going to call on this second series.
To introduce you to the Lincoln offense, we'll tell you about the Annapolis defense as we go along here on the second Rattlesnake drive. Both of these teams coming in at 1-1. 2:17 left in the first quarter, and the home team, Annapolis, in their first home game of the season on top 7-3. Q back to pass, launches over the middle, and it's caught for a first down. Another pickup of 12 on first down. That looks like the tight end, Perry Larkin, the number 2 tight end for Lincoln, moves the chains.
Great catch by Perry Larkin. He climbed the ladder, reached up high, and brought that in. Great pass, great catch, and the Rattlesnakes are moving the ball.
Eric Hammer on the stop for Annapolis, the league leader in tackles with 27, including 24 solo coming into today. It is a pickup of 13 on first down for Perry Larkin. JQ will set up directly under center. Straight drop back here, pump fakes once. Now he'll fire over the middle, and the pass is incomplete. Looking for Hall on a post over the middle, and Lincoln's going to run the hurry up here in the first quarter. All right, now they'll slow it down a little bit. The tight end just now getting set. Annapolis shifts on the line. Q drops back, fires over the middle to the same play, and it's caught this time for a first down across midfield by Tony Hall. Big gain for Lincoln. They'll rush up to the line once again. Annapolis just now as a defensive lineman get across onto his side of the field. Q back to pass again. It's the same play, and it works again. Tony Hall makes the catch, a gain of 12. They run the same play 3 times in a row. It works the last 2. Q hustles back up to the line. 1st and 10 from the Annapolis 31. Same formation here for Lincoln. Here they do it again. Who takes his time this time? We'll wait, play clock at 20. Now Q will snap. It's a different play. What do you know? Q will launch it down the right seam. It's hauled in by Nathan Barnett for a gain of 4. So finally they run something different. Nice pickup on first down. And again, Lincoln's going to run the hurry up. We've got 1 minute left in the first quarter. Q back to pass. He'll flip it out to Gahn coming out of the backfield. Gahn lowers the shoulder, picks up a couple, and he's stopped there on the outside by Brock Craven.
Gives you an opportunity to catch your breath, Tim. Excellent job on that hurry-up offensive call. And Lincoln is on the move. JQ threading the needle, went 3 times over the middle, and now they're in business on the 24.
It's Gagne on the tackle. Check that, 92, not 98. These numbers are tough to read, colorblind or not. Either way, 3rd down and 3. Q will look over the middle. The pass is behind his intended target. It's their top tight end, Connor Darien. It falls incomplete, 4th down and 3. And a decision now for head coach Jose Fuentes. They did all the work to get down here, and they're going to send in Cliff Allen to kick a field goal.
I think it's a smart move. It's the first quarter. The offense is really doing a good job to get themselves in position. Take the 3, cut it to 1, and let your defense go to work.
So Allen comes into today 5 of 8, make it 6 of 9 after his earlier make. This one is the exact same distance as 1 of 2 in Lincoln's win against Madison a week ago. Run down, clock down to 30. Allen's kick from 41 is no good. And the tough start to the season for Cliff Allen continues. If our stats are right, no other kicker has missed a field goal so far this year, Mike, and now Allen has missed 4 through 2.5 games.
Really not sure what Jose Fuentes is going to say to his kicker, but during the week, he might have to start evaluating different people. Missing 4 field goals in 3 games, that's not going to help.
It really isn't going to cut it. It's surprising. Allen's ratings are solid. He's not even close to the worst kicker in the league if you want to look at it that way, and just hasn't worked out for him so far. And now Annapolis will take over, 1st and 10. Pass is caught by Crow, and he spins around a tackle and gets out across the 45.
Really nice job by Crow. You saw his agility, you saw his athleticism, got himself open into the flat. Looked like the Rattlesnakes defense was playing more zone, and they gave him such a cushion. Had a nice catch, nice move, and now the Navigators are in business.
Second catch for 38 yards in this game for Jared Crow. He came into today with 2 catches for 35 across the first 2, only 1 catch in each of the first 2 games. And that's going to bring us to the end of a frenetic first quarter. Annapolis in their first home game of the season on top of Lincoln, 7-3. You're watching the Simulation Football Minor League on YouTube. Here this afternoon. Thanks for bearing with us. Technical difficulties mostly on my end to start, but we're past it. Tim Hackett, Mike Improto, Rosca Santagria, and David Horrell, our statisticians, and Cameron Irvine, producer extraordinaire, helping us get set up behind the scenes. Annapolis 1st and 10 from its own 46 with a 7-3 lead as we start the second quarter. From the 2-back set, Curtis launching it over the middle of the field looking for Ochoa, and the pass is knocked away incomplete. Great defense by this linebacker core. That's Alexander Ramsey, the strong safety who had his hands on.
Nice pass by Cam Curtis. He fired it in there. I thought Ochoa should have brought that down, but he heard the footsteps of Ramsey and couldn't hang on.
First target of the day for Christopher Ochoa, who had just 1 catch for 6 yards in week 1 against Madison. And then dominated last week, 5 catches for 91. Didn't result in a win, of course, for Annapolis, but they can get him involved as a supplement to C.J. Arthur, then this passing attack might even be more dominant than it was before. And here is Ochoa on cue, spins around and gets right to the line to gain. Before he stood up by Tommy Zanardi, a gain of 10. Ochoa moves the chains.
Ochoa said, "Curtis, give me another shot. I'm not going to drop another one." Beautiful catch, and he gained the first down.
First catch of the game for Ochoa. We'll introduce you to the rest of this Lincoln defense as we try to get set here in the second quarter. 4-point lead for the Navigators. Curtis directly under center. 2 wides and a couple of tight ends. Scott Johnson is the tailback. Lincoln stacks the zone. Curtis sidearm throw looking for the tight end, and the pass is caught for another first down. It's Alex Daniel making his second catch of the afternoon. He moves the chains.
Alex Daniel with a nice catch over the middle. Looks like both teams are looking to exploit the middle of the field. Daniel made a nice play, but he certainly paid for it.
Here's the rest of the Lincoln defense. The defensive line has been dominant to this point of the season, the most sacks in the league. Igor Barbatov and Darrell Alston on the inside, John Fowler and Chris Porter on the outside. All of them have at least one sack to their name. First down from the 30. Curtis, one pump fake now. Will take the check down route to Johnson. And Johnson is blown up at the line of scrimmage. More good pressure on the outside. Is that KT Horl? It is. One of the most successful linebackers in the league through 2+ games. Stops Johnson for no gain.
KT Horl, the number 4 ranked linebacker in the SFL minors out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, made a big play here to make it 2nd and 10, and the Navigators are going to have to make another big stop.
KT Horl, Tommy Zanardi, and Brett Wade are the linebacker trio for Lincoln. On 2nd down, Curtis back to pass, looking for Daniel, and the pass is out of the hands of the tight end, Alex Daniel, an incomplete 3rd down. The defensive back crew for Lincoln, Ben Stackenpaper and Nate Brown, the corners, Eric Guger and Alexander Ramsey are the safeties. So 3rd down and 10 now from the Lincoln 30. What do you draw up here, Mike?
3rd and 10. Right now, I think they're trying to get the ball to Ochoa, use Arthur as a decoy, but certainly I'm trying to find one of those 2 receivers.
They're stuck on 1 catch to this point in the game for 13 yards. Curtis to pass on 3rd and 10. He'll bomb it over the middle of the field, has a man, and it's hauled in, speaking into existence. C.J. Arthur with a big-time catch, a gain of 14 all the way inside the 6. Annapolis is in the red zone.
Big-time catch is right, Tim. Big-time players make big-time plays, and what a big-time play that was for Arthur to haul that one in.
Clearly, my math is way off, among other things in this game. It's a gain of 24 for Arthur. Add 10 to that. Let's take what I say and add 10 to it, I guess. It's been a rough day, but we're making it through. 1st down and goal now from the 6 for Annapolis. 2nd catch of the game for C.J. Arthur. Bunch set out to the left. Curtis doesn't look that way. Now he will. Has a man. The pass is hauled in by Crow. Crow stretches for the goal line, and he won't get there. Nice defense by Dennis Greer, the nickel corner, stopping Crow on the goal line.
It looked like Crow extended the ball. I thought R62 might throw his hands up and signal a touchdown. If I'm Ben Jackson, I might want to take another look at that.
I'm with you. It certainly looked like it was worth a challenge, but Ben Jackson thinks otherwise. They went to Scott Johnson in this position on their previous scoring drive. Will they go to him here? They will. Plenty of room for Scott Johnson, and he tap dances into the end zone for a touchdown. 2 scores for Johnson today, and Annapolis leads by 10.
Scott Johnson hasn't touched the ball much, but when he has, he's made it count.
Again, Curtis leads the offense down there, spreads the wealth, gets Ochoa, Arthur, Daniel, and Crow, all 4 of their star pass catchers involved. And then Scott Johnson, their number 1 running back, punches it in from 1 yard out for the 2nd time today. Here comes William Richardson on for the PAT. The holder is the backup quarterback, Jay McDaniel, and Alton Corbin. The center is the snapper. Take their time. Holds, and the kick from Richardson is good. 2nd PAT made by Richardson. And Annapolis, that quick strike offense, Mike, that comes true once again. This passing attack has been lethal for most of this season.
10-point swing happened real quick with the missed field goal from the Cliff Allen try, and now Annapolis makes it hurt. They come down and score. You got to be happy if you live in Maryland.
2nd most points scored, 1st in passing yards per game, 3rd in total yards per game coming into this contest. The Navigator offense, they're showing you why. Richardson's kick fielded by Tony Hall inside his own 15, tries to spin around a tackle and gets out to the 25. So once again, Mike, Lincoln's going to have to respond. And as you say, they set themselves up with that no-huddle offense, got down the field, set up Cliff Allen for a field goal. He couldn't convert, and now Lincoln's going to have to move the ball again.
Certainly not the way the Lincoln Rattlesnakes wanted to start the game. They only averaged 11 points in their first 2 for a total of 22 points. They're going to have to make something happen, and JQ's the guy that needs to get it started.
Here comes Q on 1st down. He'll fling it over to Gond, and Gond looked at the ball a couple of times and couldn't haul it in. That's a straight-up drop for the tailback, Luther Gond.
Luther Gond struggling here to catch the ball. Easy pass, easy catch. Gond took his eye off of it and couldn't pull it in.
Like all those stats we just told you about the Navigator offense, the Lincoln offense has not shared that success to this point of the season. Yeah, it's through just 2 games, but in an 8-game season, that could be important. Trailing early here in the 2nd quarter. Q under center. He'll take his time from the 2-back set, looking to pass over the middle, and it's hauled in. Nice route by the backup wide receiver. Crosses over, picks up a gain of 13, And they move the check out. It's Jay Moss, should have known. Their top wide receiver is getting involved early.
Jay Moss takes advantage of the middle of the field. That's where JQ has been looking for this first half.
For Lincoln, JQ back to pass, looking towards the right side, and it's hauled in. Once again, they make the catch. Looks like Moss again, and it is. Jay Moss spins through a tackle, picks up 11.
Nothing fancy, but pretty consistent going to Moss. That'll work.
Defensive backfield for Annapolis, Jared Brody and Garrison Blue, the corners. Hayden Williams and Solomon Kane are the safeties. Now you're finally caught up. We're behind schedule, but we get there eventually. Fresh set of downs from just over midfield here for Lincoln from the I formation. Annapolis puts one extra guy on the line. Late handoff. Here comes Luther Gahn. Breaks through the first hit and gets stood up after a gain of 3 by Brock Craven, the defensive end.
Luther Gahn, I really like the way he moves his legs. Not sure why he hasn't been successful with his yards per carry in the first 2 games. But again, he makes something out of nothing and picks up 3.
2.2 yards per carry over those first 2 games from Luther Gahn. It's no way around it. One of the lowest marks among all running backs in the SFL minor league through 2 games. Deep drop back for Q. Pass caught over the middle. Short gain for Nathan Barnett coming from the right side, and he picks up 4.
Great job by Nathan Barnett. Reached down with one hand, took it off of his shoelaces, and made a nice catch. It'll be 3rd and 2. Big play here for the for the Rattlesnakes. They need to keep moving the ball. They need to score points.
Barnett has the most receptions on the team coming in today with 11, and Tony Hall has the most yards with 90, despite Jay Moss being technically higher rated. Goes to show you that doesn't always matter. On 3rd down and 2, the give is to the fullback, R.E. Mills, and the number 2 rated fullback in the class powers ahead for a Lincoln first down.
The pride of Las Plumas Lake, California. He got his 1 carry. He made it worth it and moved the sticks. Great carry by R.E. Mills, the fullback.
Use R.E. Mills quite a bit to do the Lincoln offense, more so than a lot of other teams in this league use their fullback. Last week alone, he had 9 carries for 25 yards. Most of that work came in the second half, but a big pickup for him here in the second quarter. All day for Q, has a man over the middle, passes caught again by Jay Moss, and a gain of 9, as you see, his 4th catch of the afternoon already.
Q is certainly looking for Moss, and Moss is certainly looking for Q. Nice catch. It's 2nd and 1. They're at the Annapolis 26, and this is the answer that the Rattlesnakes are looking for.
The number 8 rated wide receiver in the class, Jay Moss, and a bit of a slow start to the season for him, as we already mentioned. Now, finally, he's coming to play, at least here in the first half. 3 wides and a tight end. Gone as the tailback on 2nd down and 1. Q drops back again, has time, fires over the middle, looking for Moss again, and is tipped away incomplete. Eric Hammer in there on the coverage, the middle linebacker, big surprise.
Eric Hammer and Jeff Gagne, they're the 2 linebackers in the middle of the field, and they weren't having any of that.
Hammer's been really solid so far this year, the number 10 rated backer in the class. 27 tackles, like we said. 1st in the league coming into today, knocks away that pass. So 3rd down and 1 here for Lincoln. Couple of wideouts to the left, empty set for JQ. Another straight drop back, short pass is caught, 1st down Rattlesnakes, and a man wide open. It's the backup tight end, Perry Larkin, makes his 2nd catch of the afternoon.
Great awareness by Larkin. Didn't get a lot of yardage, but did what he was supposed to do, and he got the 1st down.
That Albuquerque in their win over Annapolis last week used their tight ends quite a bit, and Albuquerque's tight end TJ Punk rocked this Annapolis defense at times, scored the only offensive touchdown for Albuquerque in that game, and Lincoln using their tight ends a little bit to start out here. That might be a good game plan for them. Another fresh set of downs for Lincoln. Q's pass is knocked away incomplete, looking for Barnett going over the middle, and the linebackers Hammer and Gagne combine on the coverage.
Whoa, JQ got lucky there. Eric Hammer read that all the way, and he wasn't able to intercept it. But had he, I thought he might have taken it back for 6.
Actually, that's Clinton Howard there. Nope, that is Connor Darien, 45, not 47. So another example of them going to those other tight ends. Darien, of course, their top tight end. Only 3 catches on the season for him so far. Good story, Connor Darien as well. We'll get to that as we go along here this afternoon. You can't haul that one in. Good coverage by this linebacker core for Annapolis. 2nd down and 10. The handoff to Gandhi. Tries to break outside. Gets through the first wave. Can't get through the second. Jared Brody comes in to help bring down Gund. And so there too is Brock Craven to help lead the way.
Yeah, great job by Craven. They were reading run all the way and knocked him back for a 1-yard loss.
Trent Scarney in the action as well. He's been very busy in this game and pretty much all season. Really the dime back for this Annapolis team, and he's been very busy early and often. Acts here for Annapolis on 3rd down and 11. Q drops back, fires over the middle, has a man wide open, pass is caught, touchdown for Lincoln. Link up of nearly 30 yards, and it's hauled in by Kari Redmond. His 2nd touchdown of the season. Another backup gets involved, and Lincoln strikes back.
This is the intelligence of JQ. He's been looking at the defense on this drive, saw that Redmond was wide open, just a straight route to the end zone, floated it up there, and now the Rattlesnakes are back in this game.
Lincoln really knows how to spread the ball around. They've got those 3-star wideouts that every team has, but they've been able to use just about everybody. And like we said, Kari Redmond, 2nd straight game with a touchdown catch. He had the only touchdown for Lincoln last week. A big link up with backup quarterback Bryant Dynasty. Cliff Allen's extra point sails through, and there's the response that Lincoln needed. They march all the way down the field. They punch it down to the score by Kari Redmond. 12 plays, 80 yards, and a 22-yard touchdown from Redmond.
Really impressed with the decision-making that JQ has put forth with his passing today, and you see it right there. Nice touchdown over the middle.
14 of his first 19 for 144 yards. And that touchdown for JQ, completion percentage of just south of 74%. Far cry from his week 1 total. Jared Crow on the return here for Annapolis. He will get out to the 29. Less than 4 minutes left in the first half. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. Game 2 of week 3 of our weekly Wednesday quadruple header, the Simulation Football Minor League. First game, the upset of the season so far. Birmingham out of nowhere, 0-2 coming into today. Takes down, and not only takes down, they dominate 2-0 Albuquerque for their first win of the season. And that just goes to show you, Mike and Proto, that just about anything is possible in the Simulation Football League. Curtis to pass on 1st down, launching it over the middle of the field, and it's knocked away, incomplete. Good coverage by the safety, Eric Guger.
Eric Guger out of Tacoma, Washington, saw that the Navigators wanted to catch them off guard. They threw the quick strike, but Guger leaped up, almost picked that off, and made a nice play to knock it down.
Number 2 rated free safety in the class behind just Gerald Winkler of Birmingham, the aforementioned leader of the field defense, helping to pave the way for their win earlier today. Shout out to our co-statistician David Horrell for a pick 6 in that game. Goes to show you what you can do if you work stats in these games. Curtis launches over the middle of the field. It's tipped and incomplete. That could have been picked off. A look at Nate Brown, the 2nd corner for Lincoln. He had a chance at that one. Arthur, the intended target.
The Lincoln Rattlesnakes are starting to feel it. After that touchdown that brought them within 4, their defense needs to come back on the field and certainly put the pressure on the Navigators. It's 3rd and 10. If they can get the ball back, the momentum just might be swinging.
You know how strong this Annapolis offense can be. They've got that quick strike nature. They're going to need 10 yards or more here. The pass over the middle looking for Crow. It's knocked away, incomplete. Great defense by KT Horrell. Her standout season continues, and the Navigators will have to punt.
Katie Horrell with a big play. This is exactly what the Rattlesnakes needed. Get their defense off the field quickly and get JQ the ball.
Well, 5th in the league in tackles, 5th in the league in solo tackles, tied for 3rd in total passes defense through 2 games, and add another one to her tally here. That gave her 4 now on the season to help stop this Annapolis drive. Rand Fullman on to punt for the 2nd time. He will send it away from his own 16. Tony Hall is the return man for Lincoln. He's got some room, breaks out across the 35 and gets out to the 37. A decent return for Tony Hall, who's been one of the best return men in the SFL so far, 4th in the league in punt return average and 2nd in the league in kick return average through 2 games. That's helped get Lincoln some better field position, even when the rest of their offense hasn't quite been as lethal as they would like.
Really looking to see what head coach Jose Fuentes talked to JQ about. Let's see if they keep going back and targeting Jay Moss.
And 3 and out here for Annapolis. Can Lincoln capitalize on this with 3.5 to go in the first half and all 3 timeouts still at their disposal? On 1st down, they hand off to Luther Gond, and he's got nowhere to go.
Big Sean Crooked, 6'2", 306 out of Brooklyn, New York. Plugged the hole, and Luther Gond gets stopped at the line.
Very inexperienced defensive front for Annapolis, and Sean Crooked has had the most success so far. A sack and 2 tackles for loss to this point in the season. The only sack that Annapolis has drawn up so far this season. That's going to need to change if they're going to have success down the line. JQ to pass on second down, has a man wide open down the right seam once again. That play has worked a number of times, and that's caught by Kari Redmond. Another pickup for the backup wideout, and he moves the chains.
JQ, he sees the middle of the field. He'll take it if they're going to give it to him. Move the sticks.
Kidding. And Kari Redmond has been great over the last 2 weeks for Lincoln. That big touchdown catch last week, another one for him today. He moves the chains again with the gain of 11. Q directly under center, 3 wide to the left. Craven, or check it, Tank Hutt jumps off sides. Free play here for Lincoln. They'll check it down on the left side to Kari Redmond once again. He picks up about 5, so it's all going to come out in the wash here for Lincoln. Would have been a 3-5, so we know what they're going to do here. At a free play.
Number 99, defense, 5-yard penalty.
Side against Tank Hutt, the defensive end for Annapolis. 5, and so obviously Lincoln will accept the penalty here, stops the clock momentarily.
Might not be a bad penalty for the Navigators. JQ's been tearing them up, and it gives the Navigators an opportunity to catch their breath.
Good discussion in the chat right now about who has the best defense in the league. You're getting a look, not right now, obviously, but in one of these games, or at one point in this game, Lincoln certainly has a stake to that claim. We've reached the 2-minute warning here in the first half. Another game where we've seen a little bit of everything. And we've got 2 minutes left in the first half, game 2 of week 3. Simulation football minor league. Annapolis on top of Lincoln 14-10. Later on this afternoon, Ottawa at Boise, and then Madison at San Jose. One set out to the left and one wide to the right for JQ on 1st down and 5 after the penalty. They'll hand off to Gond, and Gond is blown up once again. It's Brock Craven coming out of the right side of the defensive line, stopping Gond for a loss of 3.
Brock Craven out of nowhere, the defensive end, broke through the offensive line and sacked down Luther Gond for a big-time loss.
First TFL of the season for Brock Craven, and the struggles for Luther Gond to continue. He's had some moments, but really struggled to get anything consistent going so far. The offensive line has not been able to pave the way, I guess it could be said either. Plenty of time for the offensive line here. Q looks over the middle, short pass. It's caught for a short gain. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 4 for Lincoln. It's Moss once again. They're working him all over the field.
Yeah, Moss trying to get himself involved, keep JQ looking his way. Wasn't much there, but they picked up 6.
5th catch of the afternoon already for Jay Moss. Had 5 catches for 27 a week ago. He's got 5 for 50 here in this game. Big 3rd down and 4 here for Lincoln, just over a minute to go until halftime. High snap, Q corrals looking to the right side. 2 receivers were there, but Q couldn't find either of them. He was looking for Barnett, and the pass falls to the turf. It'll be 4th down.
Tough play by Barnett. Q tried to get it out early, just a little bit too far ahead of him, and it fell incomplete.
Looks like JQ is still on the field. Decision again here for Jose Fuentes, Mike. They look like they're going to go for it, or at least try the patented SFL move, trying to get the defense to jump offside. And they get Brock Craven to jump offside. It's a free play for Q. He'll launch it down the left seam, and the pass is hauled in for a big gain by Jay Moss. Forget the penalty. Moss gets them all the way out to the 21.
Really unbelievable to see the Navigator defense jump. I think it threw them off guard. It didn't throw off JQ. He kept with the play and found his favorite receiver of the day, Jay Moss, for some big yardage.
Traction against Brock Craven, as we say. And I think, Mike, I've seen every minor league game so far. I think every team has tried to pull it off at some point. I don't think I've seen it work. This time it does. Q still felt the pressure and hits Jay Moss for a huge link up.
Game 3 for a lot of these guys, it all comes down to discipline. This is what you work on in practice, and sometimes when you get in front of the crowd, your nerves are starting to get to you, and you jump off sides because you want to get to the quarterback so quickly to make a play.
Only 1 sack so far on the season for Annapolis. They're trying to rectify that. Lincoln has allowed 5 sacks through 2 games. Fresh set of downs from just outside the red zone on 1st down. They'll launch it over the middle of the field. It's hauled in for a short gain of 7 or so by Tony Hall. And once again, Lincoln will run the no huddle. 45 seconds, all 3 timeouts. 40 seconds now until halftime. They'll fling it out to Luther Gond out of the backfield. Nice spin move by Gond, and he gets out to the 9 before he's wrenched down by Eric Hammer. Lincoln will call its first timeout to stop the clock at 37.
They've been trying to get Luther Gond into the game, and if they can't get it going on the ground, they're going to try to include him in the air. Nice little pass and dump off out to the flat. He picks up the 1st down. They're on the 9, and the Rattlesnakes have it 1st and goal.
Plenty of time now for Lincoln as well. They stopped the clock with 37. They still have 2 timeouts left. JQ has plenty of time to work with. 3 wides and a tight end. Gone is the tailback to Q's right. He's under center. First down and goal from the 9. Q drops back, has a man wide open, shallow cross over the left side. It's caught once again by Tony Hall. A pickup of 5 this time on first down. And the Rattlesnakes will hustle back up to the line. Annapolis puts another man on the line. They bring in an 8-man front. Q under center again with 20 seconds left. Second and goal from the 3. Q drops back, has a man over the middle again. It's caught by Moss. Short gain, stopped immediately by Jeff Gagne, the linebacker, and Lincoln will burn its second timeout.
Great job by JQ, great job by the offense, and great job by Jose Fuentes to be aware of the clock. It's 3rd and goal. It'll be interesting to see what they call here.
Those 2 plays took 22 seconds, and so now it might be well, never mind. I was going to say it might be 2-down territory here, but Lincoln is going to bring out Cliff Allen with 15 seconds and 1 timeout. The Rattlesnakes are going to bring out their kicker, Cliff Allen, for a chip shot. Brian Dynasty is the holder. Tap down to the kick from Allen. Flutters through from 18 yards. And a great way to get Allen back on track. He nails that one, and Lincoln pulls to within 1.
Tim, I'm absolutely shocked. 15 seconds left. It's 3rd and goal. Jose Fuentes brings out their kicker, while JQ has just been picking apart this Navigator defense. Why they went for 3 there, I don't have any answers.
I'm with you, Mike. That seems like the wrong decision for me, but they still get 3. Cliff Allen nails it from 18. It's a 1-point game. And now 3 timeouts for Annapolis as Jared Crow gets out to the 29. And, Mike, I was about to ask you what you expect to see out of Annapolis here, but if you were with us for week 1, you know the answer might not be easy when you've got this passing offense.
You need to be alert. You can't fall asleep. Anything can happen. There's 9 seconds on the clock. The Rattlesnakes better be ready.
Annapolis struck for 4 touchdowns of better than 30 yards in week 1, including one on the last play of the first half to backup wide receiver Frank Hubbard. What can they draw up here? They've got 3 timeouts and 9 seconds left. They'll start off from the 29. They'll go conservative here and give it to Johnson, and Johnson is blown up at the line of scrimmage, maybe even a loss of 1. Great tackle by the defensive back, Dennis Greer. And wouldn't you know it, Mike, and sometimes we know exactly what's going to come. Annapolis runs it, they play it safe, they get no gain, and that'll bring us to halftime with the score Annapolis 14, Lincoln 13.
Yeah, the Navigators were happy with the first quarter. The Rattlesnakes weren't. Fuentes told his team, we got to turn it around or this is going to get ugly really quick. The Rattlesnakes responded, and the second quarter, boy, did they really turn it on. Halftime adjustments, it'll be interesting to see what the Navigators do. They're going to have to rev it up a little bit on offense. Hopefully they can start throwing more to their wide receiver, C.J. Arthur. He hasn't been involved, and that's to the credit of the Rattlesnakes defense.
Biggest key for me coming into this game, Mike, can either team get their running games involved? Scott Johnson has scored 2 touchdowns, but you saw a second ago in terms of rushing yards, these 2 teams have combined for, less than 25 over the first half?
Yeah, I think both teams, they wanted to get the running game going, but saw that both defenses weren't going to have any of that. And now both teams are relying on the pass. It looks like, as I mentioned, first quarter was great for the Navigators. Although Johnson did take advantage of his goal line carries, he doesn't have a lot of yardage on the ground. The Rattlesnakes, on the other hand, if JQ keeps playing like this, I can't say how much I'm impressed with him. I can't say it enough. He's looked sharp.
Garrison Blue just pointed out in the chat, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 rushing yard for Scott Johnson so far in the game. Our statisticians have him at 4 total, but, all is really about comes out in the wash once again, as it's not been a really strong day to write home about on the ground for either of these 2 teams. Sorry as I'm fumbling around trying to get some of the the technical difficulties worked out on my end as we try to sort out some of the offensive difficulty they're in.
I love it. Garrison G Money Blue from Louisiana. There's plenty of room for you on our stats team. We're always looking for good people.
Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. Thanks for bearing with us. We should be good to go. We're crossing our fingers here in the broadcast booth. Tim Hackett, Mike Improta, statisticians Rosca Santagria and David Horrell, and Cameron Irvine, commissioner of the SFL, our producer extraordinaire. I've been told that we're back, so all right, here we go. Hopefully that's a good sign of things to come for the second half. And like we expected, it's a really good game. Annapolis kicks off to Lincoln to start the second half, and Tony Hall will bring the Rattlesnakes out to the 30. A pair of 1-1 teams trying to push ahead of the pack here in the SFL. And as we saw in game one, just about anything is possible.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they keep going back with the pass. I know when I spoke to head coach Jose Bruce Banner Fuentes, I don't know if he thinks he's the Incredible Hulk, but right now JQ certainly looks like one.
No kidding. And one of the best things about Mike, if you don't know him yet, folks, is he loves his nicknames. I don't know sometimes if he comes up with these nicknames or if the guys come up with them himself. And more about Jose Fuentes in a second as Q finds Luther Gahn for a nice gain of 7 on first down out of the backfield. But that's not one of your nicknames, right, Mike? That's one of his own.
I think Jose Fuentes likes to be called Bruce Banner. I don't know if it's, as I mentioned, maybe he's bulking up in the weight room with his team. But I know this week he certainly wanted to adjust his playbook. It looks like they're keeping themselves out of third down situations. And I know he had his players working nonstop on the jugs machine, and it's coming to be very helpful today, especially with the Q to J Moss connection.
I guess you just wouldn't like him when he's angry. He's got a lot to be happy about that first half. His team down by just 1 on second down. Q will fling it over to J Moss. He's wide open down the right sideline. His 8th catch of the afternoon ties his season total coming into today, and Lincoln moves the chains.
J Moss doing a fine job this afternoon. This is his breakout game.
No kidding. 8 catches for 80 yards for him so far. He came into today 8 catches for 55 yards. So a big gain for the number 8 rated wide receiver in the SFLm. A weird wide receiver class. More on why in a second. Q to pass on first down. Has a man over the middle. It's Connor Darien, the tight end. Breaks through a tackle. Still fighting. And Darien picks up a gain of 12 on first down. A nice link up to the TE.
JQ just impressing. Great job in the second quarter. He's coming back to the middle, and he's finding success. And Connor Darien, the former U.S. Marine, I want to say congratulations to you, my friend. Mark Hurwitz, just appointed as the FSL's Director of Compliance. Don't mess with him. He'll find you, and he'll hunt you down. So be careful of what you're doing in the Discord. But congratulations to Connor Darien, a.k.a. Mark Hurwitz.
First and 10 from across midfield. Q will roll out to his left, pass over to the far sideline looking for Moss, and he's tipped out of bounds after a gain of 6. Another nice link up from Q to Moss. And I was going to say, Mike, Connor Darien, not his real name. It's Mark Hurwitz, as you mentioned, but the reason he chose Connor Darien as the name for his player is a pretty significant one.
Yeah, really, really, really nice sentiment that he made to both of his children. He's got a son named Connor, and he's got a daughter named Darien, and thus Connor Darien was formed.
Love it. That's not unusual that a player here has a different name than the real player behind the player, but that is a pretty cool story for Mr. Darien, as we will call him. Big gain up the middle for Luther Gahn, his best run of the afternoon, and Lincoln moves the chains once again.
John Marshall, the guard, number 65, 6'3", 250, created that hole, and Gahn picks up a nice gain.
Call by you. John Marshall's had a solid start to the season. We don't see too many star guards here in the minor league. He's one of a few. A nice pave-the-way block on Mark Radson to help spring Luther Gahn for his best run of the afternoon. Lincoln will pack it in here, 2 wides. An extra tight end on either side of the formation. Just underway here in the third quarter, 1-point game. Q to pass, looking over to the near sideline this time, and it's hauled in by Nathan Barnett. JQ continuing to spread the wealth and pick up a 5 on first down.
Really trying to get everybody involved on the offense. I think the Navigators are focusing more on J Moss, and this is opening up for the rest of the receivers.
9 catches for Moss, 3 for Barnett, 5 for Tony Hall, and that was the first one hauled in by Connor Darien, and everybody else, if you will, has 5 receptions so far. JQ has been excellent. He's completed 82% of his passes here as we get started in the third quarter. Now Q will roll out to his right, feeling the pressure. He's hauled down for a big loss. Sean Crooked with his 2nd sack of the season drops JQ for a loss of 6.
Out of Brooklyn, New York, Sean Crooked busted through the line. You saw that Q tried to roll out of the pocket. He felt the pressure, but he wasn't getting away.
Pressure by Crooked, and as we said, only 1 sack on the season for Annapolis. Make it 2 now, and they both belong to Sean Crooked. It's been a little bit of a problem area for Lincoln. They gave up 5 sacks through the first 2 weeks. 3rd down and 14. 5 wides here for Lincoln. Q has all day. He'll bomb it deep over the middle of the field, looking for Hall. The pass is tipped and incomplete. Good defense by Solomon Kane, the strong safety. That brings up 4th down and long
Excellent job by the Navigator defense. They were in the nickel. They knew it was a passing down, and now they get the ball back.
See what Lincoln decides to do. It's 4th and 14 from the 36, and this is far too long for Cliff Allen or pretty much any field goal kicker to attempt here in the SFL, and so no man's land for sure, and Pete Edwards will come on to punt for the Rattlesnakes. His first action of the afternoon, a high kick looking out towards the corner, and it hits the gunner, and the gunner dives out of bounds Superman style to try to save the day, and a fantastic punt for Edwards, a net of about 34, and Annapolis will start at its own 5-yard line.
Sneaky Pete Edwards comes in and makes a nice punt. Great job by the gunner, and they put it on the 5.
Second game of 4 here this afternoon. Coming up later today, Ottawa at Boise. Cavalry trying to maintain their perfect record after Albuquerque was unable to do so. And then the nightcap, Madison at San Jose. Coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Annapolis deep inside its own territory. The give on first down to Scott Johnson. He is not able to get anywhere. Nice tackle by John Fowler, number 78 in the Lincoln Green.
Win or lose, Mr. Positive John Fowler making a nice play for the 1-yard loss.
I love that mentality. Win or lose, he's Mr. Positive, and he's been a really positive addition to this Lincoln defensive end. Sorry, bad joke. We knew it was coming. From the 2-back set, Curtis now in his own end zone. He'll fire it towards the right sideline. The pass is tipped. Could have been caught could have been intercepted, I should say. C.J. Arthur was the target there, and it's knocked away. 3rd down and 11 coming up.
Yeah, I couldn't see. Was that Ben Stacking Paper who got his hand up? Great
It was.
job. 6'3", 215 out of South Deerfield, Massachusetts. Makes a nice play, and he's putting the pressure on the Navigators. It's 3rd and 11, and if Lincoln can get the ball back here, they'll get themselves some nice field position.
Most successful defensive backs in the SFLm through 2+ games. A big play there on 2nd down. 3rd down and 11. Curtis feels the heat. He's going to have to check it down to Chris Armstrong. Armstrong picks up a gain of 1.5, and another great defensive series by this Lincoln Rattlesnake defense. One of the best units in the league. Stops Annapolis in its tracks, and Rand Fulman's going to have to come on and punt.
That's all the Rattlesnake secondary wanted. They covered everybody. They didn't give Curtis anything. He was looking to go deep. There wasn't anything there, and they're forced to punt from their end zone.
Then all good or all bad for Annapolis here. Rand Fulman with his heels on the back of the end zone will punt it away. It's fielded by Hall at the 40. He's one of the most successful punt return men this season, but no dice there for Tony Hall. Nice coverage by Darren Underwood once again. And Fulman does a decent job. It's another net of about 33 for Annapolis this time. But Lincoln will start on the Annapolis 39-yard line.
The Lincoln Rattlesnakes have to be very, very pleased with the way this 3rd quarter has gone so far. They have the ball on the 39. If they get 1 first down, that puts them in field goal range.
Annapolis has had 5 drives today, if you discount that one at the end of the half where they just ran it. First down the give is to Luther Gahn, and he's tripped up for a loss of 1. Nice pressure by Eric Hammer, the middle linebacker. Loss of 1 for Gahn. So 2 long touchdown drives capitalized by 1-yard touchdown runs by Scott Johnson. And the other 3 drives today for Annapolis have been 3 and outs. That makes up their 6 total drives so far this afternoon. It's a real hit or miss outing for Cameron Curtis's squad. Loss of 1 on first down, and now JQ will run it on 2nd down. Second time we've seen that out of him today, and he picks up 3.
Interesting play. It's positive yardage, and that's what they want.
Yeah, it is positive yardage, and again, Q is one of the more maybe not successful, but more experienced running quarterbacks in this league. 4 carries for 7 yards in his 1 start 2 weeks ago. One of the more successful marks, as we mentioned. Now 3rd down and 8. Big spot here for Lincoln. They're outside of field goal range. Q back to pass from a 5 wide receiver set. He has all day. Breaks out of the first hit. Can't break out of the second one. Annapolis sacks Q for the 2nd straight possession. He's brought down by Tank Cut. And that brings up a 4th down.
The Rattlesnakes offensive line has been doing a good job. They've been protecting Q all day long, but give the credit to the Navigators secondary for that sack.
Getting great coverage sack. They brought out 5 wides. Annapolis countered it great. And now Pete Edwards is going to have to come on to punt for the 2nd time in about 3 minutes. Again, a directional kick out towards the right corner. Again, the gunner is there, and he's going to watch as it falls at the goal line. Fantastic job by Pete Edwards and the Lincoln special teams. They'll put up Cam Curtis at his own goal line.
Get this guy a cone of ice cream. Pete Edwards, 2 times he's come on the field. He punted it to the 5, and now it's on the goal line. The Navigators need to be careful here. They certainly don't want to give up a safety.
This is when it's tough to not be a run-first team. Scott Johnson has struggled all game. The offensive line has struggled to protect for him. What can they do here from the goal line? They give us to Johnson. He tries to run around the right end. Nearly was stopped, but now he breaks out a huge gain for Scott Johnson out across the 20. Still going to the 30, out across midfield. So much for a slow day. Scott Johnson from one goal line to the other. A 100-yard touchdown run, and Annapolis is in the end zone for the 3rd time. It's a hat trick for Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson just earned himself the player of the game on that 100-yard carry to pay dirt. Tim, unbelievable. He got stuck behind his offensive lineman. I thought he was going to go down, but when he broke it to the outside, that was all she wrote.
Should have been brought down. You're right. He ran right into his right tackle, Colin Cooley, and then he was able to flex outside somehow and then rumble the other 99 yards to the house. I've never seen anything like that. 3 touchdown runs for Scott Johnson in this most recent one. Could not be any different from the first 2. And just like that, it's a century day for Scott Johnson. He's got 103 unofficial rushing yards. Annapolis leads by 7. William Richardson on for the PAT. Takes his time. Jay McDaniel is the holder. Snaps it at 2, and the PAT from William Richardson sails through for the 3rd time. What a day for Scott Johnson out of nowhere. He goes 100 yards for the score.
Tim, put that in the SFL minor record books. 100-yard carry, that's the first we've seen, and I'm happy to say I saw it.
we bore witness to some SFL history. Jeez, I'm at a loss for words, and that's a rare sight indeed. Kickoff here from William Richardson. Tony Hall looks to field. One of the most successful kick return men this season. We saw a kickoff return for a TD in the previous game. Won't quite happen for Hall here, but it's still a return of 20-plus yards, better than his average. And Lincoln will now have to respond once again, Mike, though it is still just a 1-score game.
Plenty of time left in this ball game. I know the Rattlesnakes feel like their defense just let them down there, but JQ's been playing great. If they can respond and come back with points, they're not out of it.
2 under center from the I formation, 2 wides and an extra tight end. Annapolis shows blitz on 1st down. Here they come. They give us to Luther Gahn. Big hole for Luther Gahn. Tries to break through the 2nd level, and he can't. Good rallying tackle made by Hayden Williams, a pickup of 5. I'm having fun watching this game, and if you want to have some fun, you can join up with the SFL as well. You're new to the league, get your spot in the SFL minor league. It's SFLm. That's what you're watching right now today. It's a hashtag claim your spot and begin your SFL career. Subscriptions are going fast, but newcomers are always welcome. First Pro subscribers get first priority on choosing their position, so don't delay your career another second. We can't wait for you to make an impact like Scott Johnson has today. JQ trying to thread the needle once again to Jay Moss. And a nice play on defense again made by Eric Hammer, 3rd down.
Eric Hammer comes into this game as one of the better linebackers in the league. JQ is feeling the pressure, had to let it go, and that was a tough pass. A lot of traffic across the middle. I think Annapolis is waking up, and they're starting to pay more attention to that route.
You can see the strategy here for Lincoln. They've got the 2 different quarterbacks, like we said. It's a great way for teams to cycle through all of their talent. That's a league requirement, and it's a really good one to get a lot of different guys involved. When Q is the quarterback, they pass a lot. They'll pass again on 3rd and 5. They're looking for Barnett on the right sideline, and he drops it. He was wide open for a 1st down, but he couldn't haul it in. That brings up 4th down.
Wow, that could prove to be costly. JQ put the ball right where it needed, turned Hall around a little bit, but he couldn't bring it in. It's 4th and 5. The Navigators will get the ball back along with their 8-point lead.
Officially, we've got JQ at 36 pass attempts. For comparison, Cam Curtis has attempted 22. You'll remember that Q attempted 50 passes in week 1 for Lincoln in their loss against Albuquerque, by far the most that any quarterback has attempted to this point of the season. Pete Edwards on to punt again. This one won't quite go to the goal line, and it's fielded by Jared Crow at his own 30. Annapolis will start from the 32. Another good piece of punting work by Pete Edwards to try to help flip the field.
I can't agree with you more, Tim. Pete Edwards has done his job when he's been out there on the field. But right now, Ben Jackson and the Navigators have responded, and Scott Johnson's the big reason why. Let's see if they keep feeding him the ball.
Mentioned the Annapolis passing attack versus the Lincoln pass defense, but so far the Lincoln passing attack has been the more lethal. Annapolis has gotten a lot of its work done on the ground. They'll go to the air this time. First play of the drive, they'll toss it over to Scott Johnson, and he picks up 2 before he's blown up by KT Horrell.
KT Horrell needs to step up big, trying to make big plays, but Johnson was able to hold on, and they'll take 2.
Keep up with how your player and team are doing this season. Visit simulationfl.net for standings, leaderboards, and sortable team stats. The rookie big board is there too, tracking the next superstars of the SFL. And if you go look at that rookie big board, the first name you'll see is CJ Arthur. He's lined up as part of this trip set out to the left. Curtis looking towards the left, and it's hauled in by Crow. It's not Arthur. We were hoping for a bit of synchronicity there, but either way, Annapolis able to move the chains. Crow with a pickup of 9 on second down.
Great route by Crow. Great pass by Curtis. They're up to the 45.
Curtis has completed 58% of his passes to 4 different receivers. All 4 of their stars have gotten involved in the action, but all 3 of their touchdowns coming courtesy of Scott Johnson. 3:10 left in the third. The give is to Johnson on first down. He's got nowhere to go. Great pressure by this Lincoln front. It's been good all season, and Alexander Ramsey, the safety, comes down and stops Johnson for a loss of 2.
Rattlesnakes did a good job. That play took a little bit longer than the Navigators would have liked to develop. And Ramsey's speed got into the backfield for the 2-yard loss.
Haven't seen Curtis have to pass too much, so not a lot of opportunities to see this vaunted Lincoln defensive front in action in that phase of the game at least, but they've been pretty good at stopping the run. That one play accepted, of course. They'll go back to Johnson here, and he runs right into the teeth of that defensive front. That's Igor Barbatov and Chris Porter combining on the stop for Lincoln.
Great job by Chris Porter, the defensive end out of Oceanside, California. He's a Marine veteran, and he's making himself known, and he needs to come up big to give the Rattlesnakes a chance to come back here late in the game.
Porter had a pair of sacks on the final drive of the game last week in Lincoln's win over Madison. Good stop there. Third down and 11. Curtis will bomb it down the right seam, looking for Frank Hubbard, and the pass is tipped, incomplete. Alexander Ramsey once again on the coverage, 4th down.
Good job by the Rattlesnake defense. They need to get the ball back. 2 minutes left here. The game is getting late, but they did what they needed to do, and JQ gets another shot.
Another punt coming up here for Rand Fullman. Again, it's been feast or famine in this game for Annapolis. They're able to move the chains a little bit, so it won't be a 3 and out, but it will still be another punt here for Rand Fullman. Punters have been busy here in the second half. Defenses have tightened up. It was Ochoa on the target that last time, not Armstrong for Annapolis. Good punt here from Fullman, and the return man Hall is stopped after no gain. More good special teams work by Annapolis, and Lawrence Perry, the tight end, led the charge on that one.
The Navigators, I have to take it 82 yards to be successful to score points. But what's surprising to me, Tim, is that the Rattlesnakes coming into this game leading the way with turnovers, and right now they don't have any, and that's why they're down.
And Annapolis on the other side, they only have taken the ball away once through 2 games. It's one of the lowest marks in the league. Here is Gone with the run on first down, spins to the line to gain. They'll stop him right at the first down line. That's the best run of the game so far for Gone. Blown up at the end of the run by Terrence Sales, the nickelback, with a nice pickup. Gone moves the chains by himself.
Great job by Gone to follow his blockers. He picked up 10, and that's what Fuentes wants to see out of his running back.
Been a tough season for Luther Gone, like we said. Only 2.2 yards per carry, but he's been able to shake off some of the rust so far. 13 carries for 31 yards. We've got him unofficially. That's about 2.5 yards per carry, so not much of an improvement for the season, but he's had his moments so far in this game. Q under center, empty backfield. Q deep drop back, sees some pressure. Now we'll fling it over to the far sideline, or the near sideline, and it's hauled in there by Barnett. Oh, no, they say he's out of bounds. I thought it was close, but Barnett was not able to drag the feet. Second down.
Yeah, Barnett's momentum couldn't hold himself up. Got 1 foot out of bounds, and that's not going to count for a catch.
And for Barnett once again. Again, Q's been able to spread the wealth very nicely. Barnett's got 3 catches, Hall's got 5, and Moss has 9, a new career high. Annapolis shuffles the line now from the 2-back set here for Lincoln. 8-point game, 90 seconds left in the third quarter. Short drop for Q, will fling over to the near sideline. The pass is picked off by the defensive end, Tank Hutt, and he will coast into the end zone. A pick 6 for the defensive end, Hutt, and he goes all the way for 6.
The Annapolis Navigators coming into this game didn't have any interceptions, and there's the first one right there from Tank Hutt as he takes it back for the pick six. And what was JQ looking at? He tried to throw it over the big man. It slipped out, and Tank Hutt takes it back. Oh, that's gotta be a dagger for JQ and Jose Fuentes.
First takeaway by a starter for Annapolis, and you're right, Mike, big time for it. A pick six for Tank Hutt. He goes all the way. He's trying to find R.E. Mills, the fullback, and really not a good decision for JQ, who has been nearly flawless in his decision-making so far today. And Hutt's
the first poor decision by JQ, and that comes back to haunt him. He'll be seeing Tank Hutt in his nightmare when he goes to bed tonight. 27-13, and they increase the lead by 2 touchdowns. JQ will have a chance to come back out, but with 1:15 left here in the third quarter, he's really going to have to be careful with the ball. It's fielded at the 10. Good job by the Navigator special teams, and the Rattlesnakes will come out from their own 29.
We've seen a little bit of everything in this game so far, Mike. I feel like I say that every week, but a pick, and not only that, a pick six from defensive end to Tank Hutt. And if this, now we're trying to get some confirmation. That's the first interception by a defensive lineman that I've seen in the minor league. We'll see if that's the first. I don't know when the last time that happened was. Q back to pass, and he's sacked once again. Mark Radson is in there this time for Annapolis. So much for their inability to pressure the quarterback. They've got 3 sacks in this game today.
Big Mark Radson, 6'2", 310 pounds, out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. He's fired up, and that's the first sack of the ball game for this team.
Q back under center. He's got 5 wides now. Lincoln now down by 14. Time running out in the third quarter. Q back to pass. Quick drop. He'll fling it over to the far sideline looking for Jay Moss. Moss with a high step, and he gets a couple of extra yards. His 10th reception of the afternoon, and Lincoln picks up some of those lost yards.
The bright spot on the Lincoln Rattlesnakes offense, wide receiver Jay Moss. They're going to need to keep targeting him because he's the only one right now that's making the difference, and that's where they need to look.
Pick up for Moss. He's got nearly 100 yards. By far his best game. And it's interesting that this is a solid wide receiving core for Lincoln, but they didn't have any wide receivers in the top 12 in receiving yards coming into today. That's going to change after this day that Jay Moss has had. On 3rd down and 9, Q to pass. He's looking over the middle. He's got 3 defenders and the referee there looking for Moss. The pass falls incomplete. It brings up 4th down.
Very unfortunate for the Lincoln Rattlesnakes. Moss was coming across the middle. He threw it into double coverage, and unfortunately, your friend Tim, not mine, good old R6-2 gets in the way, and it helped the Navigators with 12 defenders.
Sure, it's always a good idea to be nice to officials. JQ won't be nice to him there after he helped to break up that pass. There were 4 non-green jerseys in the area of that pass, and that'll bring up another punting situation here for Pete Edwards, who's been very busy here in the third quarter, been very successful as well. Edwards' punt, not as good this time, but Crow has nowhere to go. Great work by the Lincoln special teams, stopping Jared Crow for a return of maybe 3. And Jared Crow has not been very successful at punt returns so far this season. Lincoln makes sure he doesn't change that.
Well, I'm sure Cam Curtis and company will be happy getting the ball and not having to start from inside their 5. So he's pretty pleased right now to come out on the field with a 14-point lead.
Really just a 50-50 shot. They started with the ball inside their 10, had to punt it away, a 3 and out, and then the next time they started with the ball inside their 1, and Scott Johnson took it for a 100-yard score. So you never know. Here's C.J. Arthur, his first catch in a while, hit by a double team led by Ben Stackenpaper, and as you see there, just the 3rd catch of the ball game for C.J. Arthur, the top wideout in the SFL. That brings us to the end of the third quarter. Another defensive touchdown, this one coming courtesy of Tank Hutt, and Annapolis leads by 14 as we go to the 4th. This is the SFL Minor League on YouTube. Thanks for joining us this afternoon alongside Mike and Proto with our statisticians David Horrell and Rosca Santagria and producer Cameron Irvine. I'm Tim Hackett. Appreciate you bearing with us and enjoying what is shaped up to be another really good game here in the SFL Minor League. 2 more to follow here across our virtual network this afternoon. On 2nd down and 2, the give is to Johnson. He barrels forward towards the first down line, and they say he's got enough to move the chains. Needed 2, got 2, stopped by Ramsey.
Very effective. He didn't get a lot of yardage, but he certainly picked up the first down, and that's exactly what the Navigators needed.
One up at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. Ottawa at 2-0, visits Boise at 1-1 with Colin Northrup and Mark Lopez. And then later on at 8, 0-2 Madison visits 1-1 San Jose with Mark Radson and Ramos Lynn. Games 3 and 4 of week 3. Pass here on first down looking for Crow, knocked away, and it's once again Alexander Ramsey, who's been very busy in the second half. Knocks it away, no gain.
Tough play by Crow. Curtis let it go. It came out low. Crow's 6'3", had to reach all the way down to his ankles. And when you're trying to hit somebody in stride, it's tough to pick that one off your shoelaces. Wasn't able to bring it in.
Watching the chat, you'll see Cameron Irvine's dive into the history books to try to figure out when there were some other defensive lineman pick sixes. Good history lesson there for SFL fans, as Curtis's pass for Johnson is again knocked away. More good defense here from Lincoln. As KT Horrell in the vicinity to stop Johnson, hit him before he caught the pass, and gives him a nice playful punch to the gut for good measure.
KT Horrell not happy with the way the score looks right now, and she blasted Johnson out of the backfield.
On her part this season, no question. When her team down by 14, they need a stop here with 10.5 to go in the 4th quarter. Curtis in the shotgun, 5 wide receivers on 3rd down and 10. He's got time. He'll launch it down the right sideline. He's got a man wide open. It's Frank Hubbard, the big play man, and he gets all the way down inside the 20, down at the 18-yard line. A big link up to the backup wideout, Frank Hubbard, his first catch of the day.
Wide open, wide receiver, Frank Hubbard. He doesn't catch a lot of passes, but when he does, they go for big yardage.
And make that catch at the end of the first half in week 1. That went for 80-plus yards if memory serves. That one not quite an 80-plus yard score, but a big gain on 3rd down and 10. Moves the chains for the Navigators. A precious time ticking away here for Lincoln. This is a critical game, you think, Mike. Both of these teams 1-1. Albuquerque falls from the ranks of the unbeaten. Ottawa, the lone unbeaten team, has a tough test coming up next. So the winner of this game will help to push ahead of the pack that's forming in the middle of the SFL minor league standings with only 5 games to go. Johnson picks up 3 on first down. He's stopped by linebacker Brett Wade. And this game, it really could, without trying to state the obvious here, the winner of this game has the inside track to make the playoffs.
Yeah, certainly. Game 3 in an 8-game season starts to really get crowded in the middle of those standings. But again, as we mentioned at the opening, the team that goes to 2-1 has the upper hand, and the team that goes down 1-2, they're really going to have to fight and not make any mistakes along the rest of the way.
Loser will really have their work cut out for him. Over the middle, passes hauled in by Alex Daniel, his 3rd catch of the afternoon. Small gain of maybe 4 on 2nd down for the tight end. 3rd down and manageable now here for Annapolis. And again, the secondary points to that point, Mike, is that the winner of this game will have the tiebreaker. Each team only plays the other teams once, except for the team you see in week 1. You also see in week 8. That's how you build an 8-game schedule for an 8-team league. So these 2 teams won't play again. So if it comes down to standings between these 2 teams, the winner will have the tiebreaker. That could be important as well. 3rd down and 2. Johnson tries to stretch to the left end. He won't get there. Nice stop by this Lincoln defense. They needed that one. That looks like Tommy Zanardi, helped out by Eric Guger, the safety, and that'll force a field goal attempt here.
Ben Jackson in the offense. Anytime you get the ball, you want to score a touchdown. But right now in this situation, being up by 14, 3 points is great, and they'll take it.
They took the safe route for sure. Here comes William Richardson, who's only attempted 1 field goal on the season. Snap down, the hold down from Jay McDaniel, and Richardson's attempt from 25 sails through. Richardson now 2 of 2 on the year, and it's now a 3-score game with 8.5 to go in quarter number 4.
The clock is ticking away, just under 8.5. JQ is going to have to pull off an incredible Hulk comeback here, and they're going to have to start opening up and throwing it deep for some quick strikes.
Incredible Hulk, so named for his head coach, Jose Fuentes, who calls himself Bruce Banner. And he's going to need a superhero-like performance from his offense, which has really struggled to this point of the season, as we've outlined. Decent return here for Tony Hall. Gets out to the 25. So Lincoln has got the clock working against him. 31-13 the score. Annapolis on top. Their first home game of the season. Lincoln back on the road next week at Boise, which has been a really solid team. A good defensive battle shaping up for next week. That's the late game. Lincoln had their first 2 games of the season at home. Then the next 2, counting this one on the road, and then they flip-flop the rest of the way. Home away to close the year. Strange schedule, but that's how the cards fell for Lincoln. First down they give is to Gond, and he's stopped for no gain by Jeff Gagne, who's been flying around out of the linebacker spot.
Yeah, great job by Jeff Gagne. He smells victory, and he's not going to give Gond anything.
A tough day for Luther Gond. Now 14 carries for 30 total yards, an average of just over 2, which is right in line with his season average, as we've mentioned. Q directly under center. He's attempted 40 passes so far today. 4 wides here. He's got time. He'll float it over the middle of the field. The pass is hauled in. Looks like Barnett coming out of the right side, and it is indeed Nathan Barnett. Pickup of 8 on second down.
Not a very good pass by Q, but a very good catch by Barnett. Caught it with his fingertips.
Up for that drop he had earlier, and he had 1 drop and he had 1 play where he couldn't keep his feet in bounds. But other than that, another solid game for Nathan Barnett, his 3rd catch of the afternoon. Unofficially, of course, but our 2 statisticians have been doing a fantastic job pulling double duty here in the early slate this afternoon. On 3rd down, they give us to Gond, and he stopped for no gain. This Annapolis defensive line has been lights out, and it's Brock Craven who makes the stop. No gain for Gond, 4th down and 2.
Brock Craven out of nowhere came off his block and nailed Gond. And now the Rattlesnakes are putting themselves in some deep, deep trouble.
And this might be a white flag here from Jose Fuentes from your own 34, 4th down and 2, down by 3 scores. They will send Pete Edwards on to punt once again. He's been a busy man here in the second half. High kick from Edwards. It's another really good kick. Inside the 30 is Crow, and he gets out to the 30 and no further. Special teams has been really good on both sides. We might not see another kick 6 like we saw in the first game from Riley Quintero. And speaking of Riley Quintero, I mean, how about Birmingham? Mike, we saw them last week against Boise. It was a slugfest between 2 defensive teams, and Birmingham really was not able to get anything going on offense their first 2 weeks, let's be honest. And out of nowhere, they just blitzed one of the better teams in the league, Albuquerque, and they pasted them, no way around it.
Yeah, I can't agree more. Ben Stone really put his team on his shoulders, and the upset of Albuquerque was certainly necessary. The Fuel didn't want to go down 0-3.
Nice link up there from Curtis to Alex Daniel, and the tight end for Annapolis has had himself a nice game. Just 1 catch a week ago. He's now got a couple in this game. Give him 4 for 45 yards. That one good for at least 15.
Great job by Alex Daniel, the tight end, to bring that in. The Navigators are moving the ball. And you know what else, Tim? I also want to mention a great job by the SFL beat team. And after this play, maybe we can talk about them just a little more.
Sounds good to me. 7 men in the box is normal here for Lincoln. They gave us to Johnson. Johnson with a cutback, but he's still able to get a couple. Nice tackle again by Alexander Ramsey, who's had himself a show out, at least the tackling side of things. Give him 2.
Yeah, Ramsey's done a fine job. But back to the SFL beat team. They work hard every week. They provide content for the Discord and our SFL community. And what a great job they did with the power rankings. And it looks like they nailed this game right on the money. The Navigators came in ranked 3, and the Rattlesnakes are ranked at 6. And right now with the score 30-13, that's perfect.
Curtis with the pass over the middle. It's hauled in once again by Jared Crow. A standout game for him. Was not a big piece of the offense the first 2 weeks. He hauls in another one, his 5th catch for 66 yards today. Curtis threads the needle once again through double coverage, through Alexander Ramsey, who makes the tackle, and Annapolis moves the chains.
Yeah, Jared Crow has done a really, really nice job today. I think the Navigators and Ben Jackson knew the Rattlesnakes were going to put double coverage on Arthur, and Crow has stepped up for the challenge.
Rattlesnakes have held C.J. Arthur to only 3 catches and Christopher Ochoa to only 1. The top 2 wideouts have combined for about 50 total receiving yards, and Annapolis is still going to walk away with the win. Johnson picks up 5 on first down. A nice run as the Navigators continue to bleed the clock. Now 5 minutes to go. Back to what you were talking about, the power rankings, Mike, because I mean, to me, there's far and away the number 1 team in the SFL through 2 weeks. Again, through 2 weeks, 2 games is not a huge sample size, but in the grand scheme of things, but in an 8-game season, it could be huge. Second down here for the Navigators. Curtis has all day. He finds Ochoa. There's Ochoa for the second time. He picks up 8. So to me, there's a clear number 1 team. I think, in my opinion, there's maybe a number 2 and a number 3 team. And then after that, I mean, everything is just a wash. There's so much parity, at least in the middle of this SFL minor league, and that's made it a really entertaining league through 2.5 weeks.
These guys work hard, these guys are competitive, and these guys want to win. Coming into today, I thought Albuquerque at 2-0 was one of the stronger teams, but the Birmingham Fuel proved that differently. And there goes Scott Johnson
there goes
again
Johnson.
with
He
touchdown number 4. Tim, call 911. Scott Johnson is murdering this Rattlesnake defense.
We just stopped talking about the game, and Scott Johnson says, let's shine the spotlight back on me. 4 touchdowns of the afternoon. Great pull around the right side. Marte Clellan leads the way. Scott Johnson then beats the last defender. He gets plastered at the end by the safety Eric Guger, but he still goes all the way for his 4th touchdown of the afternoon. Scott Johnson, have yourself a day.
Sorry, Tim, to take your call, but I got so excited I just had to say something.
Look, man, you deserve it after what you had to do for the first quarter. What you had to do. Listen to me. It's like it's a huge sacrifice, but you were amazing in the first quarter. You deserve a real touchdown call. Hopefully, maybe we can get you a real one before this season ends. Here's,
you're doing just fine. I'll stay right where I am. You're with me, buddy.
Here's William Richardson for the PAT. He stays perfect. It's been a perfect start to the year for Richardson. Scott Johnson with his 4th TD of the game. He's got 137 rushing yards unofficially on 16 carries. That'll help you break out of an early season schneid. 2.5 yards per carry in week 1 against Madison. Had a couple of big runs and one particular big drive to help seal that game, but on the balance was not super effective. And I mean, on the balance of this game too, Mike, not super effective, Scott Johnson, but I mean, the 100-yard rush will help wipe out any misdeeds that you may have accrued. Nice spin move there by Hall, and Lincoln will start off at the 28.
Well, for these running backs and for these quarterbacks, those are the premier positions. So when you're on and off each week, you don't get a lot of opportunities. And when you do, you need to make it count. And that's certainly what Scott Johnson has come to do today.
A great point. When you have to split time like pretty much every team does, at least at the quarterback or running back spot, you have to make the most of your opportunities. And Scott Johnson has been able to do that. For the most part, so has JQ, one poor decision aside. He'll fling it over to Luther Gond, and Gond for the second time today bobbles it twice in his hands and lets it fall through his hands. Second down.
Tough day for Luther Gond. He needs to go back, take a look at the film. Certainly needs to get some more reps in, but he'll be back.
The bottom of we talked about the parity of the SFL minor league. I mean, look, there are 2 0-2 teams coming into this league. That's obviously how it goes. Not everybody can win. And so, but honestly, the 2 0-2 teams, I don't even think they're that bad. And clearly Birmingham showed that maybe their first 2 games were a fluke. Maybe today was a fluke, who knows, but they dominated today. Q rolls out and he's buried again. Brock Craven with another hit. This Annapolis front has worked. I think they've got 4 sacks in the game, and Q will now run the no huddles. More on that in a second. Less than 4 minutes to go in the game. Q now has all day good coverage. JQ lofts it deep over the middle of the field, and the pass is hauled in. A huge gain for the Rattlesnakes. They're staying in it. I don't even know who that is. It's R.E. Mills, the fullback out of nowhere, coming out of the backfield and making a huge catch. Lincoln across the 40, 3:20 left in regulation. Q floating it down the right seam, passes, tipped and incomplete. Could have been picked off, but Trent Scarney breaks it up.
Yeah, great job by Scarney. The Navigators know the only way the Rattlesnakes are going to be able to put up points is through the air, and they're ready for it.
That's the first catch of the season for R.E. Mills, and it is a massive one. Gets Lincoln now into scoring distance, perhaps, but it is a 3-score game with 3:20. Well, check that. I mean, whatever. It's 37-13 at this point. My math is way off. Q will roll out, and the connection has been online all game. He rolled right into Tank Cut. His massive game continues. Another sack.
Great job by Hutt.
Comes Q again, now or never, 3rd down and 17. Q deep over the middle, passes tipped again, and it falls incomplete. Garrison Blue had a chance at the interception, tipped away at first by Scarney once again. He was looking for Moss, and that brings up 4th down.
When you fall behind by this much, Tim, you have to take chances, and right there, Q was lucky, but that's all he has to work with. The Navigators are sitting back. They have 2 extra DBs, and he was lucky that didn't get picked off.
That was right into Hayden Williams' chest, and that could be an issue for Annapolis going down the line. Won't matter in this game. They're going to win. Just a matter of time now. 3 minutes left, 4th down and 17. You might as well go for it here if you're Lincoln. One more takeaway here for Annapolis. They have just 2 total, 1 by a starter for 2+ games. That could be an issue. Q back to pass on 4th and 17. Has a man on the right seam. The defensive back jumps to try to get in the way. He was looking for Barnett, and the pass is tipped away incomplete. Chad Owens, the backup linebacker, was in there to help break it up.
What an athletic play by the free safety to dive in there to knock that away. I didn't catch the number. It looked like it was number 28 on the defense, Darren Underwood. And boy, oh boy, that was a heck of a pass deflection.
Call by you. That was Darren Underwood who made the play. I'm not sure why we bothered to highlight Chad Owens after that, but hey, fair enough. Get some backups in there on the defensive side here for Annapolis to help force a turnover on downs. First of the day for Lincoln, and so Cameron Curtis will come under center. Actually, it looks like the backup, Jay McDaniel, will come in under center. All right, first time we've seen this in the SFL minor league, and the give is to Hugo Reynosa, the number 2 running back for Annapolis, and he gets 2 on 1st down.
Scott Johnson's got 4 touchdowns. He's got 137 yards. Hugo, take a shot.
You take us the rest of the way, man. It's your time to shine. Of course, Hugo Reynosa, the starting running back on even weeks. He had an up-and-down game last week, shall we say. Did score a touchdown, the only touchdown for Annapolis last week in their loss to previously undefeated Albuquerque. And so Reynosa will be the ball handler the rest of the way. From just inside of midfield to Jay McDaniel, the backup quarterback under center. Annapolis in no hurry. 2:22 left to give us to Reynosa around right end. Huge hole for Hugo Reynosa. He shakes a tackle and gets out across the 30. A touchdown saving tackle made by John Fowler, Mr. Positive, with a huge play, stopping Reynosa from getting his first touchdown of the day.
Hugo Reynosa's been sitting on the sideline watching Scott Johnson rip up this Navigator defense. He finally got his chance to get on the field, and now he's making the most of it.
Out of the back of this replay, Cody Heinen, the star offensive lineman for Annapolis. Don't think we've been able to shout him out today, but he's usually the left tackle. Cracked in, moved across, and blocked on the right side to help pave the way for Reynosa. A critical block to help spring that huge run. And we've reached the 2-minute warning, but this game stops for no man. We keep going. 2 minutes left. Annapolis on top, 37-13. There's a look at Scott Johnson. He's the big storyline so far in this game, no question. 4 rushing touchdowns of all different lengths. He really was able to do a little bit of everything. So Reynosa will handle it the rest of the way. McDaniel under center. The give is to Reynosa. He tries to get outside once again, and Jared Crow failed to land that last block. Chris Porter stops Reynosa for a gain of 2.
It's only a matter of time, Tim. Right now, the Navigators are forcing the Rattlesnakes to burn their timeouts. They've got 2 left. If they can get a first down here, this one's over.
Gave Reynosa a gain of 26 on the play prior to that one. That was a gain of 2, obviously, and this is a good sign for Annapolis. We mentioned neither of these 2 teams have been very successful in the balance of the season running the ball, and it's really no question which team has been better in that aspect of the game here today. McDaniel again, the handoff to Reynosa, and another hole for Reynosa, running left tackle this time. He picks up 10 on 2nd down, and the Navigators move the chains once again. Lincoln calls it 2nd timeout.
Start the bus, Tim. The Rattlesnakes have a long trip back to Lincoln, Nebraska. And Jose Fuentes is going to have to go back to the drawing board for week number 4. And surprisingly, that's the halfway point. They're going to be down 1 and 2. They certainly don't want to go down 1 and 3. So next week is possibly a must-win situation for Lincoln.
We'll be back on the road next week against the Boise Mud Dogs, which are coming up in the game immediately following ours at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central. Reynosa with another nice run, starts to go left and cuts back out to the outside of the right side, picks up 2, and Lincoln will use its final timeout.
Next play should be victory formation. Great job by Annapolis. Great job by their defense. I think the 2 big plays in this game, certainly the 100-yard rush for the touchdown by Scott Johnson, and absolutely the pick 6 by defensive end, Big Tank Hutt.
Comes the victory formation, as you mentioned, Mike and Proda, and Jay McDaniel will do the honors. Here comes another big key difference in this game, Mike. We mentioned the defensive front, and you got to look at Igor Barbatov, who made the tackle on Hugo Reynosa on the last play. We've got Lincoln at 0 sacks. in this game. I have Annapolis at 4 as a team, plus the pick 6 from the defensive end, Tank Hutt, and the battle of the defensive lines, the success that Lincoln has had so far this year and the lack of success that Annapolis has had. The Navigators turned that around, a complete 180 to this game today, and their defensive front dominated.
No one expected the way that this Annapolis defense came in today. As I mentioned, they didn't have any interceptions. They only had 1 sack. But when they got the turnovers today, we knew that's what they needed to pull this game off, and that's exactly what they got.
The takeaways, the turnovers, another huge difference. Lincoln led the league in takeaways, coming into today, 6 total, including 3 by starters, by far the most in the league. They have 0 takeaways in this game. Annapolis has just 1, but it was the pick 6 by Tank Hutt. So here comes William Richardson on for the field goal for the second time. This will be medium length from about 32 yards for Richardson, who's 2 of 2 on the season. He'll take his time. They'll snap it with 2. McDaniel will hold. And the kick from Richardson sails through once again. He stays perfect on the season. Good from 31. Annapolis extends its lead. It's now 40-13.
Yeah, Annapolis extending the lead, pouring salt in the Lincoln Rattlesnakes' wounds. But right now, the home team is feeling pretty good.
This is a new record for points scored in a game by an SFL minor league team. 40, breaking out the previous record held by Annapolis in week 1, where they scored 31 against Madison. Links coming up at 8 p.m., the final game today at San Jose. This Annapolis offense can score. We're not able to score a lot last week, so maybe that says more about the Albuquerque defense as Tony Hall spins across the 25, gets to the 28. But then again, the Albuquerque defense, which has been really solid to this point of the season, got shredded by Birmingham, which had been one of the worst offenses in the league. So, I mean, we've said this all across the second half, Mike. It goes to show you, you never know what to expect here in the SFL.
That's the beauty of this league. Anything can happen. And if you had told me at the beginning of the game that Annapolis was going to put 40 points up on the Rattlesnakes defense, I wouldn't have believed you. And furthermore, if you had told me that C.J. Arthur was only going to catch 3 passes while the Navigators put up 40 points, I definitely would have put money on that.
He just trucked Cameron Curtis on the sideline. It was Connor Darien, the tight end, on that catch from Q. And I looked down to say, man, who was that just got hit by Darien as he went, auspiciously out of bounds, lowered the shoulder, trucked the man over there wearing the opposite colors. And it was Cam Curtis, the star quarterback, who is league leader in passing yards coming into today. Darien picks up 7 and a couple of plays left here for Lincoln. From the I formation, Q calls out the signals. He'll fling it over to the far sideline. Has a man wide open. It's Barnett. Makes the catch inbounds. He's blown up at the end of the route by Jared Brody, it looked like. And Lincoln
Not sure why he didn't take that out of bounds, Tim.
I'm with you. I mean, it's obviously too late, but it doesn't. Yeah, you got to maximize what you have. And so in lieu of that, JQ will hustle up to the line and spike it with 5 seconds left. So an opportunity for Lincoln to make one more play. It's been a really solid game for JQ with that one poor pass that Tank Hutt took 30-plus yards to the house. Other than that, a really solid game for him, but he's going to be 0-2 in his 2 starts. Bryant Dynasty will get the start again next week in week 4 against Boise. Hail Mary formation here for the Lincoln Rattlesnakes, down big in the 4th quarter. One pump fake for Q. He'll launch it down the right seam, and it's picked off right in the defensive back's hands. It's Hayden Williams, the free safety, and that's how the game ends. 2nd interception by the Annapolis Navigator defense. They set a new SFL record for points in a game. Scott Johnson rushes for 4 total touchdowns, and the Navigators beat the Rattlesnakes 41-13.
Great job by Annapolis to protect home field. They moved themselves up in the rankings and go up to 2-1. They put themselves in the middle of the pack, and Ben Johnson and company very pleased with the way this game turned out. And with that interception to end the game by Hayden Williams, that's the exclamation point, Tim.
Here's a look at Scott Johnson's 100-yard touchdown run. The first time I've ever seen anything like that. And here's big play number 2. Tank Hutt with the pick 6 of about 25 yards of JQ. Beats out the fullback R.E. Mills to the house. The first interception return for a touchdown. First interception period by a defensive lineman in SFL minor league history through 10 games now. But those are the 2 big plays in this game, Mike. And, I mean, mentioned it, the rushing attack for Annapolis loads better, defensive line play loads better, passing offense not as clinical but more lethal. They didn't get more yards, but they were a lot more efficient. and they coasted in this game when all is said and done.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the big run by Scott Johnson. That was basically the blow to the midsection. But when Tank Hutt picked that off, that was a punch to the face. And that's ultimately what put the Navigators down to the mat.
Hey, Mikey Proda, you're 2 of 2 so far. Tell me, you might have some time here to think about it, but who is your player of the game here in week 3?
Well, thank you very much to Scott Johnson. This is going to make my decision very difficult. We got to go with the running back. And really, really great breakout game for him today. 16 carries, 137 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Put that on the board.
We're going to wait, and anticipation's killing me. There it is. You're 3 of 3, Mikey Proda. Bookmakers hire that man. Front offices draft this man. Scott Johnson, 4 rushing touchdowns and about 150 all-purpose yards, including the 100-yard touchdown run, a new minor league record. Mikey Proda, your final thoughts as Annapolis runs away with this one.
Tim, my final thoughts are, thank you for allowing the SFL into your living rooms. Now allow the SFL into your dreams.
Thanks a lot for joining us here this afternoon. For our whole team, producer Cameron Irvine, our statisticians Raska Santagria and David Horrell. They pulled double duty this afternoon. Great job, gentlemen. You were excellent. Thanks for your help. And as always, thank you to my partner, Mikey Proda. I've been Tim Hackett. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long.